Before we dive into what happened this time in the garden, and believe me, this one took a turn, let's take a moment to look back. What you're seeing now is footage from earlier visits. Pulling up radishes, digging out carrots, planting tomatoes, cucumbers, courgettes, wrestling with the brassica jungle. You know, standard garden stuff. But each of these little tasks, each visit, each slightly wobbly planting moment has been building towards something bigger. The 1,000 kg challenge. We're trying to grow 1,000 kilos of fresh vegetables right here, in this greenhouse, with basic tools, no big machinery, and plenty of trial and error. Good thing we've got our AI gardening buddy on call too. It crunches our planting schedules, flags potential pest outbreaks, and even suggests when to tighten those cucumber vines, so we can focus on getting our hands dirty. And then, as much as we can, we donate that harvest. Because growing food is great, but sharing it? That's the real goal. And honestly, it's working. The first radish harvest shot us from 0 to 8.9 kilos. Then the carrots, the lettuce, the beets, the field greens, and boom, suddenly we were at 24.8 kilos. It's starting to feel real now, like, hey, we might actually pull this off kind of real, and while it's easy to focus on the numbers, how many kilos, how many crates, the real story is what's happening in the background. Literally. If you look in this footage, behind the things I'm harvesting or planting, you can actually see the garden changing, week by week. That bare soil from last time, suddenly full of greens. Those floppy courgette seedlings from 2 visits ago, climbing the string like they know exactly what they're doing. And the garlic, that stuff went from meh to mini tree real fast. Growth in the garden isn't always obvious. Sometimes it sneaks up on you. You're focused on pulling radishes and don't realize the onions behind you just doubled in size. That's the rhythm here. Every time we leave, the garden keeps working, quietly. Until suddenly you walk in and think, wait, when did this all happen? So yeah, coming into the garden this week, I wasn't carrying a detailed checklist. But I was expecting something, some progress, a bit of harvest, maybe another bump on the scoreboard. After all, everything looked ready. The lettuce looked lush, the tomatoes were still standing, the cucumbers hadn't escaped their strings yet, and it had been a week. In garden time, that's a lifetime. So yeah, I had high hopes, quiet hopes, not clipboard and whistle hopes, but the kind where you think, all right, this visit's going to be smooth. Let's check on things, maybe plant a bit, maybe pull a few things, and definitely log some new kilos. But here's the thing. The garden always has its own agenda, and it does not care about mine. It took about 3 minutes to realize this visit wasn't going to go the way I'd imagined. The first sign? The lettuce? At first glance, gorgeous, big, green, thriving. Then we got closer. Let's just say, not. All of the residents of the greenhouse were invited. And the lettuce? Well, it had company, slimy company, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Stick around, because the day definitely did end with a harvest. A full crate, actually, and it should have been another big jump in the challenge tally. But instead, we added just 0.2 kilos. How that happened, and why it still counts as a win, you'll see in the rest of this video. Let's go see what changed. Slugs. That's what changed. Slimy little nightmares with a taste for tender lettuce. They don't pay rent, they don't ask permission. They just show up and feast like kings. And of course, what do they go for first? Lettuce, always lettuce. Soft, juicy, delicate leaves. Basically the five-star restaurant of the vegetable world. To slugs, it's like dessert, main course, and midnight snack all in one. Meanwhile, broccoli, cauliflower, garlic, meh. Too rough, too strong, too stinky. They're not picky, but even slugs have their preferences. And apparently, garlic breath is a deal breaker, even in the animal kingdom. So here we are, harvesting in a hurry, not because the lettuce is ready, but because the slugs are. They've claimed their portion. Now we're just trying to salvage ours. Still, gotta give it to them. Persistence, 10 out of 10. Boundaries, absolutely none. But you know what? It's fine. We needed the space anyway. There are cucumbers waiting, courgettes ready to climb, tomatoes dreaming of sunshine. So thank you, slugs. You pushed us to act and made some room for the next generation of garden glory. Then switched to time-lapse for the bulk of the work. Before long, we've cleared the bed. What looked like a setback turned into a harvest. And the best part? Almost all of it is still usable. A few chewed leaves, sure, but most of the lettuce is fresh, crisp, and more than good enough to donate. It's not glamorous, but it's real food, grown with care, rescued just in time. This whole batch goes to Stichting Vikes, our partner for distribution. They make it matter. Now, we didn't weigh the harvest. The scale is, surprise, still at home in the bathroom. Classic. And although we know it's probably about 5 kilos, we only count 0.2 kilos for the 1,000 kg challenge. Why? Because it wasn't planned, because slugs were involved, because let's be honest, 1 or 2 probably got past the rinse cycle, so we count just enough to keep the number round. It's symbolic. But the real value isn't in the weight. It's in the action, the rescue, the donation, the fact that it didn't go to waste. We came in with no plan, but we leave with a cleaner bed, a solid donation, and one more small step towards our goal. We're still at the beginning of the 1,000 kg challenge, but every harvest, every crate, every saved lettuce brings us a little closer. If you want to follow along, not just for perfect garden shots, but for the real stuff, the work, the weather, the wins and the weeds, then subscribe to the channel, like this video, and maybe even share it with a friend who dreams of growing their own food, too. We're learning as we go, giving as we grow, and we'd love to have you with us. You can grow it.